What is up, everybody, and welcome back to Touchdown and Ties, the father-daughter sports podcast where she knows ball because he taught her. I'm your co-host, Brianna, the daughter of this duo.
What up, everybody? And I'm Keith, her dad, the other co-host.
In today's episode, we're going to be wrapping up Conference Championship Weekend as the college football playoff rankings just came out. But before we do, if you haven't already, please go ahead and follow us wherever you listen to podcasts. That way you get updated whenever we upload an episode. And of course, it also helps us out as well. All right, let's go ahead and get into it.
All right, let's do it.
All right. So like we just said, college football rankings have just came out. The season is wrapping up and we are officially entering the postseason. It was a day of a lot of blowouts, some close games, and a lot of firsts. So was there anything that you saw that you were surprised about, that you weren't expecting? How are you feeling as the rankings have just dropped?
The one thing that I was really surprised about, we had talked about this off camera, if you will, is that what is the significance now of the conference championship games with the 12-team playoff? How important are these games, especially as it pertained to Indiana and Ohio State? Because the outcome of the game wasn't going to determine whether these teams made it to the playoffs or not. Both of these teams had a 99% chance of being in the playoffs, win or lose. It didn't really have any bearing, if you will, on, them continuing their season in the playoffs. But, kudos to them. Both those teams came out and they played really hard. There was a lot of intensity into this game. In retrospect, when I thought about it, I guess the game did have some significance, probably more so to Indiana than it did to Ohio State, because Indiana hadn't won a Big Ten championship in over almost 60 years, maybe. They hadn't won an outright Big Ten championship in 80 years. So I guess it had a little bit more significance for them as it did for Ohio State. But they played, it was a well-played game. Indiana won the game, so congratulations to them. But, Ohio State is still, they only gave up 13 points.
Still.
They lost the game.
They were consistent in that, at least. Like you said, they haven't given up many points to any opponents all year. This was the first game this season that they were trailing in the second half. That hasn't happened to them. But you got to give credit to Curt Cignetti. I mean, he has been like crazy. I mean, his resume is insane. When he was at JMU, that was the team's first 2 years of being in the FBS, and he went 8-3 and 11-1. In the last 2 seasons at Indiana, he was 11-2 and 13-0 and counting. Obviously, he could still go undefeated the rest of the season. And now they're sitting at the number 1 overall position going into the postseason. So they had a total of 9 wins from the 2021 to 2023 seasons, and they had never reached 10 wins in program history. So he has turned around several programs in his tenure of the schools that he's been to. So you got to give credit to him, because he does definitely win some games, like he said.
And it was more significant than that. I mean, he took over. When he took over, Indiana was the losingest football program in Division I.
Yes.
So that's the job that he faced, when he took over at the school. And he came in right away, and it was just like, forget Ohio State, forget Michigan
forget
and Purdue. They all suck. Yeah, I mean, he came in with talking this talk, and the fan base was just like, okay, whatever, dude. We heard this before. But 2 years later, here they are. I mean, it's the greatest story that I've seen in college football history, and I'm not just being a prisoner of the moment, because my whole life, Indiana has been the laughingstock of the Big Ten. And 2 years later, this guy has taken them to the top of the mountain as far as the Big Ten is concerned. They're the champions of the Big Ten. Indiana's always been just a basketball school. 100%. But now, he's put the football program on the map, and he's done this just in 2 years.
I'm saying rather quickly, too. I mean, like you said, 2023 was the last time that they had those losing seasons. I mean, his first 2 years, he's done some amazing things at Indiana. So
done amazing. I mean, they're the number 1 seed.
In the college football playoff.
In the college football playoff. I mean, wrap your mind around that.
Right. And it's like I said, it's not like he came into a team where they already had a very strong foundation in football, like you said, with teams like Alabama and Ohio State, where you have these coaches that are coming into well-developed programs. This program was absolutely nothing. And he has flipped it around, now you said, now to being the number 1 team in the country. That is insane. So got to give credit to him. I mean, that's amazing.
100%. And he's doing it in the era of NIL. I'm not sure what Indiana's NIL budget is, but I don't imagine it can compete with Ohio State, Michigan, Alabama, LSU. But the point is, he's still getting these kids to come to Indiana and play. So imagine now with the success that they're having, you would think that would increase, the amount of money that they will spend on NIL trying to get guys to come to their school. So the trajectory for Indiana is like this. I mean, honestly, I don't think that this is, a flash in the pan, if you will. He signed an extension to stay with Indiana.
Yep.
And Cignetti is going to be around for a while, man. And Indiana
Yeah.
might be here to stay. I mean, it's
100%.
really good to see. That the users, I can never pronounce their last
I
name.
know. It's honestly, I get confused with them and UVA because it's kind of like the same kind of noise, honestly, a little bit.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah,
But
yeah,
good for them, man. But it's gonna be interesting to see. I mean, as it pertains in the bigger picture now to the college football playoff. I mean, both
yeah.
Indiana and Ohio State, like I said, are in. They get that first round bye, along
Mm-hmm.
with Texas Tech and
And
Georgia.
Georgia. Yep.
So yeah,
Hmm.
it's gonna be some really good matchups.
Yeah, and Georgia had an overwhelming performance yesterday against Alabama. They've held their last 4 opponents to 20 points or less, with no one scoring more than 21 points since October the 18th. That is
Yeah,
impressive from Georgia. So,
yeah.
yeah. I
That's the
mean,
one
Bama
team
didn't
I don't think
score
people
until
want to see
is Georgia? Why you say that?
because they're so good. Their defense is
Oh, you
so
mean like
good.
in because they're good? I thought you meant because they're
Yeah.
hating and they think they don't deserve to be there. I
No,
was
no,
like,
no, 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 no,
no,
no. Like in
okay.
the playoffs, yeah,
Yeah,
you don't
yeah.
want to see Georgia.
Yeah, I
Not
mean,
right now.
Bama, they were quiet all night. They didn't score anything until the fourth quarter, and then Georgia answered right back to basically make the margin of the score what it was before they even got the touchdown. And Bama had -3 yards rushing in that game. That's
Right.
how good Georgia's defense was
That's
against
what I'm saying.
Alabama during that
Yeah.
game. So yeah,
Yeah. It was
and
very
uh,
dominant.
and it's something that I didn't find out until here recently was that Kirby Smart is 2-7 against Alabama, and it's interesting to
Hmm.
find out because there's always talk about other coaches' record against programs and or wins against top 10 teams like James Franklin when he was at Penn State, Lincoln Riley at USC, and even Ryan Day at Michigan. Now he's 2-4, but he was 1-4 before the game this past month. But
Hmm.
yeah, I never really hear about Kirby Smart's record or lack thereof rather against Alabama. I mean, obviously his coaching resume is way stronger otherwise, but I think just because those teams meet up so much, I thought he beat Alabama more than just one time, but now two. But it was just interesting to see.
Yeah. It's because he won championships. If
Yeah, just what I'm
he,
saying. Coaching
and
resume is so strong. Who cares?
yeah, and
Yeah,
one of the championships that he won, if I'm not mistaken, was against Alabama. That
yeah,
that what
yeah.
that one win that he had prior
Right.
to last night, I
Hmm.
think it was in the championship game against
Yeah.
Alabama. Trust me, I mean, if James Franklin had somehow been able to win a championship despite losing to Michigan and Ohio
Hmm.
State, he would still
Hmm.
probably be at Penn State right now.
Yeah, yeah. And then with Alabama's loss yesterday too, a lot of the reporting that was coming out, I think even we kind of talked about it a little bit either on camera or off
Hmm.
camera that was probably it for Bama. We didn't think that they were going to get into the college football playoff, but
Right.
not only did they get in, they didn't even move. Their ranking stayed
Yeah.
exactly the same. So
Right.
they have more losses than Notre Dame, Miami, who did end up getting in, and BYU, who lost to Texas Tech in similar fashion for their
Right.
Big 12 championship the same way that Bama lost against Georgia. Or Bama still found a way to get in. They do have a better resume, objectively. That's what the reporters are saying, that they have a
Hmm.
better resume against any of those other teams that I just mentioned. When you look at the competition that they beat, because they did beat Georgia in the regular season and they did beat Vanderbilt, who was a really good team this year. But it is
Right.
interesting to see that Bama didn't even move. At least one.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, I think the committee has said that they would not punish teams who had to play that extra game for the
Yeah.
conference championships.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you're going to play the game, it has to count for something. I mean, you
Something.
can't
Yeah.
just play in the game and then you get blown out and they just say, well, it was a bonus game, if you will,
Yeah.
then it
Hmm.
doesn't count for anything. Then why
Right.
play it? And that's what I was
Yeah.
saying before. What's the significance of these conference championship games? The only way they can influence is by getting you into the championship or getting you
Hmm.
to in the playoffs. But if you lose, it doesn't affect you, then why are we playing them?
Yeah.
But then it seemed like it affected BYU,
Right.
right?
That's what I'm
Because
saying.
BYU
Yeah.
had a
It's like
had a
how.
really good season. But yeah, you punish them for losing to
Right.
Texas Tech, but then you don't
Exactly.
punish Alabama for
Right.
losing to Georgia. So I mean,
Yeah.
who knows, man? It's so
Yeah. I can
subjective.
say
These guys just do
yeah.
whatever they want to do.
You can say
The
it's
only
it's
thing
such
that
a
they got
double-edged
right, in my
sword.
opinion, one of the things that they got right, in my opinion, was putting Miami in
Okay.
over Notre Dame.
Okay.
They
I
had to
I
get
do
that
I
right.
do think that was correct. The only gripe
Hmm.
that I have about that was that the committee said
Hmm.
that they need all the games to be played before they make the final decision. But
Hmm.
because you have to honor the head-to-head, period. I feel like that's just not debatable. Miami beat Notre Dame during the regular season. You have to put
Hmm.
them in. But if that's what you're going to end up doing, why did you have Notre Dame ranked above Miami
Right.
all this time? Because if
Right.
that's going to be your
Right.
argument as to why you put
Right.
them into the playoff, then that should have
Yeah.
been your argument throughout the whole season because that part of the resume didn't change, especially because those two teams didn't play yesterday.
Right.
Their resume was what it is. It wasn't changing after that. So when y'all had that final show on Tuesday, I felt like Miami should have been in the rankings or where they are now if you would have just flipped them at the very last minute.
Right. And they set themselves up. They opened themselves up for criticism by doing that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because, you already saw these two teams play head to head. They had the
Mhm.
same type of the metrics, whatever they look at this to determine strength of schedule and
All
all
the
that other
things,
stuff.
yeah.
I don't know anything about all of that. All I know
Yeah.
is that when I watched them play the first game of the season, Miami won the game.
Right.
So just based on all of that, unless Miami just fell off the map, and they had like
Yeah.
4 or 5 losses throughout the course of the season, to me,
Yeah.
all along, it made no sense for Notre Dame to be
Mhm.
ranked ahead of Miami because Miami beat them.
They
So
beat
how
them,
can
yeah.
Notre Dame be ranked ahead of them if they already lost a head-to-head battle and they're sitting there pretty much with the same type of record? It
Right.
never made sense to me, so I didn't
Yeah.
understand why the committee had Notre Dame slated ahead of Miami all season
Mhm.
long, and then on
The
the
day
last
of.
day,
Yeah.
you flip them. Like, really? Okay, that
Yeah.
make it make sense.
Yeah.
Make it make
They
sense.
kinda got
Of course,
the
they come up with something.
Yeah, they kinda got the "Hey boo" text, and if you're a Black woman, you know the "Hey boo" text is when you think something's
Mhm.
gonna go your way when you're getting your hair done, and the day of, like 30 minutes before, she texts you, be like, "Hey girl, I can't do your hair today." That's the text Notre Dame got this morning. They got the "Hey boo" text, like, "Hey, I know we've had this plan all this time, but we're actually gonna go a different
I
direction."
never heard that one before.
That's what happened to Notre Dame today. Because,
Yeah.
I mean, yes, Miami had those 2 losses, and then you could say strength of schedule-wise, Notre Dame lost 2 stronger opponents, but you also can't dismiss that Miami did what they needed to do towards the end of the season, and they
Right.
still won their games outright, and like I said, they still have the head-to-head against Notre Dame, so I
Yeah.
don't think it's wrong that Miami is in the college football playoffs. I think that they should be, but, I
Right.
mean, the rankings should have been like that all along if that's what you were gonna do.
Yeah.
I think that's kind
They
of
got it.
unfair.
They have a tough job, but it's what they signed up to do.
Mhm,
For the most
mhm.
part, they do a good job. They get these
Yeah,
things right most of the
yeah,
time, but it doesn't matter what format they have. I mean, when it's the top 4 teams, number 5
yeah,
is
it
going to be
was
crying about,
yeah,
we should have got in. When they
mhm,
have 12 teams, number 13 is going to be like, well, we should have got in. So
right.
it doesn't matter. I mean, you can't put everybody in the field. You get 12 weeks to write your resume, if
State your
you
case,
will,
yeah.
state your
Mhm,
case. And at the end of those 12 weeks, if it's not good enough, it's not good enough. I mean, Texas,
mm,
they got 3 losses and they campaigning. They should have been in the playoffs. So
yeah,
I don't
no, for
envy those
sure.
guys when they have to sit in that room and
No,
decide because
not at
basically it
all.
just comes down to you only had 2 at-large teams that could make it, and you had
Make
to
it,
choose
yeah,
between Alabama, Miami, and Notre Dame. So somebody was going to
yeah.
be left out. So,
Especially when you had
you
to
know,
put those 2 conference champions in from Tulane and JMU respectively,
right?
like you
The
said,
group
some of
of
those teams were
5.
automatically
Yeah.
gonna be yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yeah. So that
So
takes
they
up
did
2 of your
announce
spots right there.
Yes, they did announce the
So,
bowl game. So we have 5 SEC teams that made it to the college football playoff. We're not surprised. Surprise, surprise.
okay.
So Oregon is playing James Madison, and then we have
Mhm.
Alabama and OU who are going to be a matchup
Mhm.
together for the first round. Ole Miss and
Mhm.
Tulane, and then Miami and Texas A&M. Those are going to be the first 4 games on that December 19th, December 20th weekend.
So which game sticks out most to you on that first weekend?
I would
We
say
already saw Alabama,
definitely.
Oklahoma. We
Well,
already
I
saw
was
that
that's
game.
one of them because it's a
Mhm.
rematch, right? So we get to see
Yeah.
that again. Alabama lost
Mhm.
to OU, and that was one of the reasons
Mhm.
why they said they shouldn't even be in the playoff. Now they get to play them again, so they
Yeah.
get a second chance at glory. And then I
Mhm.
think Miami and Texas A&M for sure. I think
Mhm.
Texas A&M will win that game against Miami, just with the way that they've been playing. I think Texas A&M is a very strong team, and they're
Right.
more consistent. I know there were some rumors going around that Miami could play Georgia if they were gonna be in that bracket, so that
Mm.
would have been funny
Mhm.
because that would have meant Carson Beck would have had to play Georgia again
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I forgot
if they
about
were gonna
that.
be 11. Yeah, but they got away with that one. So definitely those 2 games. I mean, unfortunately, with Ole Miss and Oregon with their opponents, I'm not expecting them to lose to JMU or Tulane
Yeah,
respectively. So it's maybe a little bit biased there, but I would say from the 2 that I mentioned, probably the most that I'm interested in would probably be Texas A&M and Miami.
for sure. I think that's the game
Yeah.
that sticks out most to me because we
Yeah,
already
for
saw
sure.
Alabama and Oklahoma play early in the year. It
Yeah.
doesn't mean that it won't be a good game,
Yeah.
but I haven't seen Miami and Texas A&M play
Yeah,
each other this year, so I'm looking forward to that game. And I'm still looking forward to seeing Alabama and Oklahoma.
for sure.
But the game that I'm looking forward to most is looking forward
Mhm.
to the most is Miami and Texas A&M. I
Mhm.
think that'd be a good
Okay.
game.
Okay. Let's do something fun. Let's actually play out the brackets.
Okay.
Between Texas A&M and Miami, who do you think is gonna play Ohio State?
I think it'll be Texas A&M.
Texas A&M and Ohio State for sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Ole Miss
Yeah.
and Tulane. I think Ole Miss will play Georgia.
Mhm.
And then we said Alabama OU against Indiana. I don't know. That's I don't know
Yeah.
who would win because I don't remember the Alabama getting blown out by OU.
It was a close game.
It was a
It was
close
it was
game.
it was a close
So
game.
I
Mhm.
think whoever Indiana would play would win, and I think Oregon would beat
James
Texas Tech.
Madison.
Yeah, Oregon would definitely beat James Madison. If they play Texas Tech, I think they'll beat Tech. Now we have Texas A&M, Ohio State, Georgia, Ole Miss, IU. Let's just say OU, and then Texas Tech and Oregon. So
Texas Tech, Oregon. Who did you say?
yeah,
Alabama, Oklahoma winner? You
I
thinking
just said OU.
said OU? Okay. So
Yep,
that would mean OU will play Indiana, then Ole Miss
Indiana
will play
play
Georgia, Texas
Georgia, Texas
A&M,
A&M play Ohio
play
State,
Ohio State. All
and
right.
then in
So
the
you want
semis, I'm thinking Ohio State, Georgia, Indiana,
Ooh.
Oregon.
Ohio State, Georgia. That would be a really
Yeah,
good game.
yeah.
Indiana, Oregon would be a rematch of a game earlier in the year when Indiana went up to Oregon and won that
Yeah.
game. The one thing that surprised me the most about the game with Indiana and Ohio State last night was their defense. I knew Indiana's offense was pretty good, but
Yes.
their defense was outstanding
It was outstanding. I
in
mean, there
that
were
game,
so
man.
many
So
times that Ohio State had a 4th and 1, 3rd and
yeah,
1, and they got
yeah,
to
and they
the red
stopped
zone
them.
so many times, and they stopped them and made them settle for field goals. I was shocked by
Yeah,
that 'cause that
yeah.
was not typical Ohio State at all.
Not at all. I mean,
Not
Indiana's
at all.
defense was very good in this
Yeah.
game. But if you're asking me, who I think will probably win it all, I've been saying all year, and I'm just going to stick
Mhm.
to it. I think Ohio State is going
You
to
think Ohio
win.
State's gonna win it all?
I
Okay.
just think they. I mean, their defense is outstanding.
Yeah, they only gave up 3 they only it was only 3-point margin, actually, only gave up
Yeah,
13 points.
they only gave up
Yeah.
13 points. I mean, and we saw what happened the last time they lost a game, 13-10, right? We
They
saw what
still
they
went on to
did.
win it all. They
They
still went on to
still
win it
went on to
all.
win the championship, man. So I mean, if I was a betting man, it would be hard for me to bet against Ohio State. It just
Yeah,
would be. I mean,
okay.
those guys they're the defending champs. The offense is still potent with San and Tate and all those guys over
Both
there. I mean,
and all
I
that.
think that they will. I think that they will find. I mean, if they play Georgia, it would be an excellent game. But I
Well,
just
I've
wouldn't bet
I've been
against
saying
Ohio
all year
State.
how you say you don't think anybody can beat Ohio State. I have
Yeah,
been saying if there's anyone that can beat them, it would be Georgia.
it would be
So,
Georgia. Yeah.
yeah, so for me, I think it's either gonna be Georgia or Ohio State that's gonna win the whole thing.
And
So,
that's no
that's my
slight to Indiana. I mean, I really can't speak a lot about Texas Tech because I haven't watched a lot of
I
Red
haven't
Raider
watched their
football, but
games. Yeah.
they have a 12-1 record, so they're a legitimate team.
Yeah.
But I still couldn't count out Indiana after what I saw
Yeah.
last night. I mean, they're
Yeah.
not just some flash in the pan, and
Nope.
these guys are just lucky to be there. I mean, they're going to be a
Yeah.
tough out for anybody that have to
Yes.
play against them. But
Yeah.
again, for me, if it came down to a rematch in the championship game between
Mhm.
Indiana and Ohio State,
Yeah.
I'm not picking against Ohio State. Just me. That's just me
Okay.
personally.
Alright. It's
That's
so
just
hard
me
once you kinda get
personally.
down to that semifinal, like you said, none of these teams are, just how did they get here kinda team, so
Yeah.
it'll be really hard to predict to say who would win. I
Yeah.
think all those teams, especially all the teams basically have a bye week right now,
Right.
are any of those teams could do it, especially Indiana,
Yeah.
Ohio State, and Georgia for sure.
Those four teams that have the bye don't play again until I think Ohio State games is
That's
uh
yeah.
is
The
is uh,
January
December
1st, December
31st.
31st. Yeah, they
Yeah,
have a
so they have
while till they
3 weeks
play.
off. Yeah, they have 3 weeks
Yeah.
off. So if they have some injuries, some nagging injuries at least,
Mm.
they have an opportunity to get healthy. So
Yeah.
typically when those guys play, when those teams play, everybody's healthy. Again, like I said,
Mhm.
unless they had season-ending injuries, but if
Right.
you have those little nagging injuries, you have an opportunity to get those things healed up before the game.
Yep.
So until I mean, Indiana did show me last night that they could hang
Mhm.
with Ohio State, but
We'll see. Yeah.
I just can't pick against those guys, man.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we'll see later today in this long 3-hour show of where Michigan is going to end up for their bowl game. It's just a bowl game, whoop de doo, whatever. But
Right. A
you said that they're a
A
glorified
glorified
scrimmage.
scrimmage, yeah. The bowl games have lost so much of their luster with
Yeah,
me
because
over the
of
years
a lot of
because
people.
of the playoffs, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't even really pay attention. Even if
Hmm.
my team is Michigan is in a bowl game, I
It
really
doesn't
don't
mean
watch it.
anything anymore. Yeah, it doesn't mean
It
anything
don't have any
anymore.
significance at all. I
Yeah,
mean, if they're not playing for something, I don't watch it. And a lot of the players opt out because they don't want to
yeah,
risk injury. and that sort of thing, or they've already announced that they're transferring to another school, or whatever the case may be. So at this
Definitely a
point,
flawed
man,
system.
there are only 11 more games that really matter in the college football season, and those are the
Mhm.
11 games that will be played in the playoffs to determine the
Yep.
champion.
Yep.
That's it.
So, of course, the college football season is winding down. So, we're going to have to pivot a little bit and talk about some different things to just fill in the space and just, it's football, but it's sports. So, we're going to talk about everything. We love sports. And to kind of preview that a little bit, let's talk about Michigan basketball for a sec. Let's just start off by saying the state of Michigan basketball is doing very well right now. The Pistons are 19-5. The Wolverines are 8-0. And in their last 4 games, they have won by 40 points, 30 points, 40 points again, and
Wow.
41 points, respectively. They have
Wow.
beat teams like Auburn, they beat
Yeah.
Gonzaga, and this is dating back to the players' era, the games they were playing over Thanksgiving, and they were just blowing teams out. The best record that they have, they've done this since 1989. So are we seeing Michigan basketball coming, back up?
These guys are on a
Championship
mission,
caliber team.
and shout out to the Spartans too. I mean, I know they're Michigan's rival in basketball, but the
Whoa!
Spartans are they're ranked in the top 10 too. I know they lost to Duke yesterday,
Whoa.
but the Spartans, yeah, you got to give credit where credit is due. Just like we give Ohio State credit in
Yes.
football, you got to give Michigan State credit in basketball. Man, these guys are
Yeah.
great. I mean, they win.
And their coach is legendary. I mean,
Tom
he's
Izzo is a legendary
legend.
coach,
Tom
so
Izzo is a legendary coach.
you
Yeah.
gotta give respect where respect is due, right? I mean, like I said,
Yeah.
they lost to Duke last night, but they're still a top 10 team. That being said, man, this run that I'm seeing from Michigan this year has been nothing short of incredible. I mean, they're not just winning games. I mean, they are
Yeah.
pulling teams out, like you
Out.
said,
Yeah.
pretty good teams too. 30, 40-point wins routinely to start the
Yeah.
season is just incredible. I think when the rankings come out tomorrow, they will probably be ranked either number 1 or number 2, depending on
Yeah.
how the committee who do the rankings, however they want to look at it.
Right.
I know Arizona is ranked ahead of a little bit
Did they
ahead of
win
them right
last
now.
night?
They did win.
They win? Okay,
They
they did
blew
win.
out.
Okay.
Last I looked, they were blowing out Auburn. So I
Oh,
assume they still held on to win
okay.
that game. But yeah, it's been nothing short of amazing what Coach
Yeah.
May has done with bringing in some excellent recruits, bringing in
Mhm.
some guys off the transfer portal. And Michigan is scary right now. I mean, it's real early
Yeah.
in the season,
Very
obviously.
early. I mean, basketball has so
Just
many
December. We
games.
have a long
Yeah.
way to go. But to start off the season, you have to really take note to what they're doing. It's been
Yeah.
very impressive to see.
It'll be exciting. When I introduce this, I called it a pivot, but it's kind of like going back to kind of how it all started with us, because I got into sports heavily with you,
Yeah,
it was with basketball. It was not with
yeah, that's
football.
true.
So I got to start brushing up on my basketball knowledge, because I just kind of
Yeah.
forgot about it a little bit with football. But I used to be very, very much into basketball.
Yeah, that's how it
Yeah.
started, with the
That's how
Trey
I
Burke
started.
era, you
The
know?
Trey Burke era, my
Yeah.
favorite. Oh my gosh. We
Yeah,
were, like I said, that game, he shot that 3, that was changed everything for me. I was like, "Oh,
yeah.
this is amazing."
We weren't
I
living in
love
Michigan at the
sports.
time, so you had me running
Yeah.
all over town trying to find a Trey Burke jersey.
And I still have it, so the
Do you
mission was
still have it?
successful.
Yeah, so that's where it all started, so we've come full
Yeah.
circle. We gotta come
Yeah.
back and start paying attention to basketball, not just because Michigan is winning, but basketball was, probably, your first love as far as
Yeah,
sports
as
are
sports
concerned.
go. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
so we'll get
so
back into it. I loved it once, I'm
we've
pretty
been
sure I
hyper
can love it
focused on
again.
football, because,
Yeah,
we football people, whatever, but certainly now
yeah,
with, like you said, with college football season winding down, man, we can have a little bit more time to pay
yeah.
attention to what's going on the courts.
Yeah, and then just in the world of sports in general, I mean, there's something going on every day. So, like
Oh
you say,
yeah. Never a dull
everybody will
moment.
kind of see some
Mhm.
changes in the content as college football season dies down, especially because, like, we don't have any games coming up this week, and then we have games next week, and then
Yeah.
there's another break because it's Christmas, and then we have the New Year's
Yeah.
slate. So we'll have some
Yeah.
things kind of jumping around there, and then we'll still primarily focus on the NFL. But after that, it's open field. So we got to
Yeah.
start, integrating some different stuff. So we'll see. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's all I got for
We'll do
today,
that.
though. All right.
All
You
right.
got
It's
anything
time to
else to
watch some
add?
NFL.
Yeah, I know. Game started 40 minutes ago, so you turn on the
Yeah.
TV.
Right.
All right. All
All
right,
right,
let's go
sweetie.
ahead and wrap it up here. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode. We hope that you guys enjoyed it. Of course, if you haven't already, please go ahead and follow us wherever you listen to podcasts. That way you get updated whenever we upload an episode. And of course, it also helps us out as well. All right, we will catch you guys in the next one.
All right, y'all. Stay here till we get back.